History Channel.
What's going on, wrestling fans? It's I, Steve Fo. Welcome back to the channel. On today's edition, we're talking to the current, reigning, and defending WWE Evolve Women's Champion. It's Kendal Gray. How are you doing today?
I am great. How are you?
I am doing amazing because today we're talking about you. We're celebrating you. And the first question right off the gate is, hey, how does it feel to be the Women's Champion in Evolve?
It feels amazing. Honestly, it's a full circle moment. You know, I just came up on 2 years being at the Performance Center, and it just feels amazing. It feels like all my hard work since day one is slowly paying off, and I feel like this is just a stepping stone to my career here in WWE.
Now, it's great to hear because even online, after this matchup this past week on Tubi, people are now being more aware of Evolve. They're saying, oh, well, now I'm going to tune in more often than I was before. And that's great to see because that match you had was incredible. But people are comparing you to Bianca Belair as in someone who caught on so quickly in professional wrestling. How does that feel to know that people are saying that you are on the same level as Bianca Belair?
I mean, she's amazing. She is so good at what she does. And obviously, I have so much work to catch up to her because she is so much more experienced than me. But for people to see that, that future for me, you know, I would hope that can happen one day, but it's a cool feeling. You know I'm putting in the work and I'm trying to get better every single day. And, you know, it's just a cool feeling.
Now, take me through that day. What were you feeling? Nervous, butterflies? Like, what was the atmosphere like heading into this matchup for you personally?
You know, I definitely was nervous. I can't lie and say I wasn't nervous. I had butterflies. I was nervous for the outcome. But I just had to believe in my training. I had to believe in myself and just have confidence in who I am and what I bring to the table and just let it fly. You know, birds don't think about flying. They just go out there and fly. And that's what I had to do. So.
That's a good point. I always wonder, how does a bird fly? But, you know, is it flapping the wings? Is it gliding? So many questions about a bird. But
they don't think about it. They just do it. So I just, you know, I went out there, I believed in my confidence, and I just had to do it.
Now, who is working with you at the Performance Center? Like, what is the process for someone in Evolve? Because we have obviously seen how NXT wrestlers are trained through different documentaries, Unreal. But for you, what is the process for an Evolve wrestler?
I would say it's pretty similar, but our training, we train every single day in the ring. We go promo classes. We do all that, kind of very similar to NXT. But, you know, obviously with Evolve, we have our own kind of schedule when it comes to like our matches and stuff. But it would be pretty similar as far as like training.
Now, which wrestlers are at least coming to the PC to give some advice to you? Which ones have given the best advice, I guess, would be the question.
Somebody that's currently like a wrestler, or is
someone who's on Raw, and
or...
SmackDown, coming down to you know, look around and see who's got the talent, who doesn't have the talent, like who's been kind of someone teaching you more so than others.
A few people have came down. I would say Charlotte Flair. I've had a few conversations with her. Ivy Nile. I've had a few conversations with her as well. Getting in the ring with her. Let me think. John Cena came down. That was really helpful. A lot of great information that he would say. So I would think those were my top three.
So then what did John Cena have to say? Because we are running on fumes on the end of this. Like, we're all going to be crying in December when it's his last match. But for you, what was he saying to you that really resonated?
He kind of just talked about like being in the moment, being very present when you know, get in the ring, kind of stuff like that. And for me, I feel like that's very important to me, just trying to take it all in because that time goes by so fast, you know, and just being in the ring and being present there. And, you know, something like that, kind of putting in perspective, kind of putting it at the forefront of my head. Like every time I get in the ring, I'm like, be present, like just take it all in, take this moment in because it can get ripped out of you, like you might not have this opportunity ever again. So just taking it in and being present is one of the, you know, main things that he said that stuck with me.
That's an amazing thing to take in life as well, because every day we're wondering, you know, what's next? Well, why don't we enjoy now before we look forward to the next thing? And
100%. And I feel like coming from like an athletic background, athletes are so, I am, at least me, I can't talk for everybody. For me, for an athlete, like I'm always chasing the next best thing. I'm always chasing the next goal of mine. And I think that's a good mindset to have, but it's also being present day to day and having, you know, celebrating the little goals, the little accomplishments that you've done every single day. And for me, that's like a great reminder and something that I always have to keep telling myself.
Now, you've always been an athlete, and from my research is Your father is the one that suggested to you, hey, you should go join the wrestling team in high school. But
Mhm.
the wrestling school in high school, if I'm correct, there was no women's team. You were on the men's team. Can you describe this?
Yeah. Yeah. So growing up, my family, we always, bonded through like sports, combat sports. We used to have UFC parties, all that stuff. So when I was 11, I started doing like MMA. And when I got to high school, my dad kind of was like, "Hey, you should try out for the wrestling team." And I was like, "You're kidding. There's no women. There's not even women wrestling in Nevada. What are you talking about?" No, he's like, "Oh, I'm being serious. Like, you should go try out." And so I listened to him, and it was a great experience. I would not like change anything about it. I would felt like I was one of the bros, on the men's team. I was a part of, I was like listening to all the locker room talk. Like, I don't know. I grew up with an older brother, so it came very natural to me to like bond with the guys. Wrestling against the guys was an experience of itself, but I feel like that's what made me, get so much better so fast because I started wrestling at 14 in high school. That's pretty late for, wrestling. People start when they're super young, barely can walk, or, just starting walking, they're starting to wrestle. And for me, I feel like wrestling with the guys and being a part of a guy's team kind of pushed me to get better super, super fast.
Man, 11. You were MMA fighting at 11. I love it. Like, I have an 8-year-old and she's like, I'm going to do ballet. And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay. And then, here you are, like, I'm going to do MMA, dad. Like, oh, okay. Like,
Yeah.
what's, like, as a father myself, like, what is your father's reaction to you saying, hey, I want to do this?
I think he loved it. And my dad played baseball growing up, and I think he would always talk to me like, "I wish I wrestled. I wish I did that stuff." So I think he enjoyed it. I watched Ronda Rousey growing up in UFC, and I wanted to be like Ronda Rousey so bad in the UFC. Actually had a cage fight when I was 12, which is so funny to me.
Wow.
But I mean, it's cool, but it's so
Yeah, it's
funny. Like I was
awesome.
12 years old in the cage fighting. But I don't know, he enjoys it. And I think I enjoy it too, because people look at me like growing up, people would look at me and like I'm a smaller girl. And they would look at me and like, "Oh, you play volleyball, or you play this, or you play this." I'm like, "Oh no, I actually do MMA," or "Oh, I wrestle with the guys." And they're like, "There's no way." But I think that's what makes it special, People look at me and what you see is not what you get because you wouldn't expect it. So I don't know, I don't know, it's a cool feeling for sure.
Yeah, I did like there was I think you did an interview about 2 years ago with flowwrestling.com, and there's a picture of you in the middle and there's there's two guys on one side, two guys on the other, and you're in the middle. And I'm like, wow, like that has got to be impressive. And again, as a father, I'll be pretty damn proud too, seeing like, look at my little girl take down these dudes.
Yeah, no, he loved it. He was proud for sure. And I think that's like my parents, my dad, my mom, those are like two people that really push me to work hard every single day because I just want to make them proud. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. From driving to tournaments, for paying for tournament fees, for flying me out for the best camps. So my whole goal sometimes is just to work so hard to get so successful to like pay them back in some way. So they're definitely my parents have definitely been like really big motivators in my life.
Well, I'm looking forward to my 6-year-old son taking care of me in the future because I wake up at 6 in the morning for his hockey. So
Right, see? But that's not many, he'll think of it eventually when he grows up. He's like, "Wow, my dad woke up this early to," it's a cool feeling. And it's awesome to have your parents support you like that.
that's amazing to hear. Now, the name Kendall Gray, that is your not your real name, but why this name? Like, who chose it? Did you pick it? Where is the inspiration coming from?
So the last name Gray, growing up, I had a very, very, very good childhood. But I would not, I can't lie to you and say I wasn't bullied or I wasn't, I didn't have some struggles growing up. And growing up, my parents always told me like, you have to be comfortable in the uncomfortable. Like life isn't always black and white. Sometimes it's a little gray. Sometimes it's, so that kind of stuck with me. And that's why I was like, I want my last name Gray. Because when I get into the ring and things aren't going my way, sometimes it's not going to be black and white every time I step in the ring. Sometimes it's not going to go my way. I have to find that courage. I have to find that motivation
Mhm.
to make it. I have to be comfortable in the uncomfortable. And, growing up, that's kind of like my motto. And I feel like here is the exact motto every time I step into that ring.
Oh man, parents is adding so much wisdom to that brain of yours. And then
Yeah.
yeah, that's great to hear. And so now you did send this message out recently, and I was inspired by it as well. But I'll read it off. 2 years ago today, I walked into WWE not knowing what to expect. Now I can't imagine my life without it. The memories, the friendships, the lessons, all of it has meant so much to me, more than I can put into words. Just so grateful. Now, tell me, were there tears writing that? Like, what was the emotions heading into that post?
Definitely, yeah. It's definitely like an emotional thing. It's a full circle moment, you know. I I did not expect to be in the position where I'm at right now. I didn't even know this was an opportunity growing up. But now that I'm here, I don't want to do anything else. Like I am so happy to be here. I'm so grateful for this and I want to do this as long as I possibly can. You know, and it's just it's an amazing feeling. It's so cool. This is like my like dream come true, you know? And there's so many people here like with friends, like just it's a big family and it's just I can't even put into words. I'm just like so grateful. Like the post says, I'm just so I have so much gratitude and I could not imagine myself doing anything else.
Now, what's your background in WWE, I guess, content? Because before that, you're MMA, you're talking about Ronda Rousey, UFC, you're doing different types of sports. Were you watching? Was your brother watching? Was your father watching? Where's the background there?
Yeah, so growing up, I had an older brother and we used to play like the video games growing up all the time. The Battle Royal, the Royal Rumble games, the we would freaking argue all the time who's playing John Cena or who's being the Undertaker or like we would definitely play the video games. My dad actually took us to some events. Like I have a picture of me at a SmackDown event wearing a "You Can't See Me" chain. I was like probably under 10 years old. So I definitely was a fan growing up. And then I think when I got into middle school, I kind of stepped away. Like I didn't watch it as much.
Mhm.
And then through college with the NIL program, that's, when it brought WWE back into my life. And when I knew this was an opportunity, I was like, what? What? Like I could be a superstar. I never knew I could be a superstar. You know what I'm saying? So it was an opportunity that I could not turn down. I was like, I have to do this. If this is not meant for me, like it'll, maybe it doesn't happen, but like I have to at least try. I have to put everything to it and go try out, see if this is for me. And now I'm here.
Now, talk about that program too, the NIL program. It's quite interesting because for years and years, it was you had to go work in, I don't want to describe like bingo halls and high schools, and you have to start there and they maybe get discovered. For you, your background of being an athlete, how does that work? Who reaches out to you? How does the process work? Because I'm guessing a lot of athletes who are, say, in high school or in college, they don't know the next path beyond that because not everyone goes to the Olympics, not everyone goes on the Wheatie boxes. For you personally, how did that process work for you?
So, I was currently wrestling in college. I still had 2 years of eligibility. I think for not most athletes, but they have a WWE recruit page that kind of reaches out.
Mhm.
But for women's wrestling, it wasn't NCAA. Women's wrestling's not very big yet. It's a growing sport. So I was at a smaller school, like an NAIA school that not many people would like look at. And not many people knew women's wrestling was even a thing in college. So I kind of got lucky through, Julius Creed. He has been like a big part of like why I'm here because me and him through wrestling, he wrestled at Duke in college. The wrestling community is very small. And after winning like a national title of mine, he reached out and was like, WWE next question mark. And I didn't think I thought he was joking at the time. So I was like, yeah, sure, totally. And he's like, no, I'm serious. Like for real, if you want to do it, I can get you in contact with, the recruiter team, whatever. And so that's kind of how I got in contact with him or with them. And that's kind of how it started for me because I truthfully don't think like an NAIA school, they probably wouldn't reach out to because a lot of the recruits that they have coming or athletes that are coming are like top athletes like NCAA, at those divisions. But
Yeah.
women's wrestling and NAIA were so small that people didn't really pay attention to that.
That's true because over the years, people like Mark Henry or Kurt Angle, they established themselves beyond the college
Yes.
level, and then obviously they got picked up, and then throughout the years they have brought in more wrestlers from that background too. And I think it's gonna be really great because again, all the years that you've been putting in for MMA or any sport you were playing, like, well, sometimes there's like, how does that feel? I guess mentally, did you always think like, all right, what's the next step after college? Like, what were you thinking?
Um, well, so I majored in biology in college. So I kind of had an idea of like becoming a dermatologist. I've love the skin. I love popping. It's kind of gross, but I enjoy like I'll be at home watching like videos of people popping blackheads and all that stuff. So I was like really into that. It's kind of gross, not for everybody, but I was super into that. So that was something that I had, but I did have 2 years of eligibility left, and I did have, my mind was kind of going for the Olympic route, but I'm very realistic with myself. So that Olympic, dream probably wouldn't happen until 2028. And that's kind of when it came down to it. When I had this opportunity from WWE, it's like, hey, you could try out once you graduate. I kind of weighed out the pros and cons for me and what I wanted in my life. And I was like, I was gonna be 28 years old, probably around that age, trying to go for the Olympics. I'd still be cutting weight. I'd be super not eating a lot, super not healthy because I was not good with cutting weight. But I just weighed out the pros and cons, and I wanted a change of direction, and that's why I came to WWE and tried out. And honestly, since then I couldn't imagine going back. This is a dream come true.
Well, here you are, Evolve Women's Champion as well. And, the praise online, if you type your name in on any single social media, there's no like, oh, I don't like her. There's all I see is positive energy towards you and towards what you're doing. And now Evolve as the women's champion. How does it feel to be one of the faces of this brand that is bringing forth this new energy to WWE?
Feels great. I feel like when you're looking at yourself, it's hard to see that.
Well, you're in the
But
forest. It's hard to see the trees.
yeah. But it's a great feeling. And I hope that I can continue to get better every time I step in the ring, make people want to watch Evolve, come and tune in and want to see us and all the other talent develop into who we are. And every time we get in that ring, we're trying to get better. And I hope people just tune in and try to see that we're all so passionate about it. And we want to, continue to grow. And I hope they see how hard we're trying to work.
Have you, no, Triple H is the man, he's the one in charge of everything. Have you spoken to him? Has he spoken to you? Any words?
We spoke, well, not one on one. He's had us like a few speeches to like NXT, like everyone at the Performance Center, but not one on one yet. Hopefully soon. Hey, just kidding.
Yeah, I was gonna say everybody always already like, oh, let's send her to Raw, let's send her to SmackDown. Like people are already saying online like they want you on those brands on Netflix, on USA, and NXT. So people are already asking for it now. But people are always gonna ask this question too, probably to you today or tomorrow for the future. Fantasy time. Who on the main roster do you want to wrestle?
There's so many, but if I had to pick one, I'd probably say Rhea Ripley. I think she's so cool, so badass. With her size and my size, I know I'm a lot smaller than her, but I think with my speed and technicality, it could be a really cool matchup. I would say for her, for sure, Rhea Ripley.
Oh man, yeah.
Eventually. Right now, I got a lot of work to do before I get there, but eventually, I would say get in the ring with Rhea for sure.
Yeah, I think she has a busted nose from in Japan. Those videos been popping up online.
Oh, I know. I saw that. Oh, it looks, yeah.
Yeah, it looked when you see someone when she shows it in sideways and you see the gauze up there, thinking to yourself, that does not look fun.
No, it doesn't. But she still looks so cool with it. She looks great with it still. If anyone can pull off a nose like that, it's Rhea Ripley. There you go.
Good point. Yeah, you want to say that before she headbutts you to death. So that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Now, before we wrap this up, where do you see yourself in a year? Because 2 years ago, you came into the WWE. 2 years later, here you are, Evolve Women's Champion. Where do you want to be in 1 year from now?
1 year?
Oh, 1 year.
Oh, I'm very realistic for sure. That's one thing about me. I'm very realistic. A year from now. Okay, maybe I'm not super realistic, but I don't know if this is or not. But maybe a year from now, I'll be in NXT holding one of the championships, North American or the NXT Women's Championship, one of those. Replacing this, not saying this is bad, this is great. I love this. But replacing this with an NXT championship for sure.
Oh man, that's great to hear. That's great to hear because, again, like I said, the endless praise. Before we wrap this up, like, how does that feel before we really get this going? How does that feel to know that online is a dark place sometimes of anger and hate, but for you it's positive and it's light, a little gray. How do you feel though that the fans are rallying behind you, hoping that you become this new phenomenon in the WWE?
I'm just very grateful to have that because like you said, it is a very dark place on social media. Social media can be very mean sometimes, and people don't really know how people feel internally. So I'm grateful to have people, wanting me to succeed, wanting me to be the best person that I can. And I just want them to know that I see that and I appreciate that and I love that. And I can promise you and assure you that every time I step into the performance center or every time I step into that ring, I am trying to put on the best performance that I can and continue to grow. And I'm never going to get complacent because I want to chase the next best thing always. And I see that and I do appreciate it for sure.
Well, Kendall Gray, thank you so much for being here on the channel here, talking about Evolve, talking about the future. You vs. Rhea Ripley, I see it, and it looks bright. You can break her nose later on. But again, folks, I'm Steve Fault. She's Kendall Gray. Tune in on Tubi for Evolve every single week. She's a champ. Have a great day, and we'll see you
Thank
next
you.
time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.